welcome back to Design Bundle's YouTube channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Crystal. Today we are going to do a reverse canvas project. So if you guys have never made a reverse canvas, you guys are going to love this. It's super duper easy and it's a way to make your very own signs. It gives you an extra, you know, whenever you're creating a sign and you're just applying the adhesive vinyl, this gives you some extra steps just to make it last a little bit longer and have a little bit more fun. So lots of different canvases you can get, lots of different shapes and sizes. For example, this one right here is, let me see my dimensions here, an 8x16. Hobby Lobby, always 50% off. We'll have some link down below for Amazon, but you could do 8.5 by 11. You could do small ones, big ones, whatever you wanted to do. So we've got our blank canvas. I've got a knife blade. You just need some sort of, you know, what do you call these? X-Acto knife, some sort of knife like this. This is a Cricut brand, as well as the Cricut ruler. I like to use the Cricut ruler because it is a little bit more sturdy, if you will, to kind of give us a little bit more security whenever we're cutting in case we slip. We're not going to cut our hands, and it gives us more of a straight edge. So I really love these. Once again, I'll have everything I'm using linked down below for you guys. All right, so we've got our canvas. I'm going to actually be using iron-on today. So I'm using Caesar Easy Weed. I've already cut out my design. We'll weed it in just a minute in black. So I'm actually going to use iron-on. So I'm going to be using the mini Cricut Easy Press today to apply that. But you could definitely apply adhesive vinyl if you want to. I've got my weeding tool. I've got a staple gun because whenever we're done, we're going to staple the canvas back on. You could definitely use push pins. You could hot glue it back down. Lots of different options there as well. You may want to use a pair of scissors to trim up your canvas after the fact. I've talked about the glue gun here, glue sticks. And then for this project, so if you're just doing a reverse canvas, you don't need these. But for the project I'm doing today, I'm doing a keychain holder, key holder. So this is going to be at our front door to hold all of our keys. But this would also be a great project if you were going to do one for your dog to hold all your dog leashes and things like that. You could do like dog balm or put your dog's name on here, would be really cute, and put it in your laundry room or wherever you keep your supplies, your garage, and have all of your dog leashes. So that's another idea. So just some simple hooks like this, lots of different ones out there on the market. I'm going to have some link down below for you. Now, another thing is these are gold that I could paint them white, whatever I want. And then another thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to paint my frame. So there is a wooden frame under here. You could leave it, you could stain it. I'm going to paint mine today with the Starcraft chalk paint in gray, so it's going to be really, really pretty. So we've got that. I think I've covered all of my supplies, so let's go ahead and dive right in. All right, so first things first, let's go ahead and take off our plastic here and cut off our canvas. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut into the plastic here and remove all this packaging really quickly. You can even grab canvases at the Dollar Tree, so you can definitely get them there as well. Canvases are quite affordable. All right, so what we're going to do is cut the canvas off. So what we need to do is I'm actually going to take this ruler here and I'm going to cut right here on the edge of this canvas. Not all the way against this edge, but this edge right here. You could do the middle, whatever you want to. I'm going to kind of avoid my staples here going around them and just cut all the way around. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to take my ruler here, line it up nice and straight, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut into this. And it may take you a few times to get into that canvas. So, you know, add a little bit more pressure in there if you want to really get down into that canvas. Just like so. I'm going to come all the way down, just being super careful because we are working with a super nice sharp blade. So if you guys can see here, I'm trying to see if I can show you, you can see that we're cutting that canvas off. So we're taking this off. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this up really quick and zip all the way around. All right, so now that I've went all the way around, you may have some snags here and there around your staples. So all you're simply going to do at this point is I'm going to try to pull up what I can. So I'll come back very careful because once again, super sharp blade here. I'm going to come around here and work with getting all of this off. So I'm going to go ahead and get around my corners here. You could definitely take a staple remover and definitely pull those out if you want to. But for me, I just leave them. So I'll just kind of tear around them. Just like that. I could get the same with this guy and I'll be able to pull. So very carefully, just like that. Try not to tear that corner. I'll cut just like that. right, so I'm going to go ahead and repeat that same process for all 3 corners. All right, so as you guys can see, now we have this really pretty frame right inside. So normally you could only see this, but right inside of every single canvas is this really gorgeous frame, right? So we are going to be able to create a really awesome sign. So don't worry about these, you know, tattered edges here, these torn up, you know, or anything like that. All we're going to need is right where the center of this is going to go. So say, for example, like this. We're going to take those scissors here in a little bit once we get done, and we're going to trim all that excess off. So, so don't worry about all these little torn edges, like I said, when you're taking it apart. So, like I said, you could definitely leave it like this, stain it, paint it, spray paint it, hand paint it. You could do a gold frame, would be gorgeous on this as well. Lots of different ideas. Unicorn spit, you name it. The list goes on of the possibilities. So here we go. So we have a really nice frame here. So the very first thing we want to do is I'm actually going to start painting this. That way it can be drying. And the awesome thing about chalk paint is it dries super, super fast. So it's perfect for projects like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to prep up our station now for our painting. All right, so let's go ahead and get ready to paint our frame. So I've got my parchment. This is butcher paper, just scrap paper, anything, cardboard box. I've got a paintbrush. And I've got my chalk paint, so I'm just going to mix it just a smidge, and then we're going to go ahead and quickly paint around this. I haven't used this color yet, so I'm actually going to pop this off. And what I like to do with paints like this is I like to actually take my paintbrush and kind of push all this back in before I completely peel this off, so I can save some of that paint, because there's quite a bit on that lid. All right, so we'll do this and then scrape off the excess. All right, so now we're ready. So let's go ahead and dip into our paint here and just start going all the way around. So whenever you do this, you are going to make sure that you cover even in here. So you don't need to paint the back side. You just need to get all the way inside like so, and then all the way on the outside. Now, if something like these little holes bother you, see those little pieces there? You could get some wood filler. Super duper easy to do, and let that dry before you paint. So that's something, if you're going to be doing a lot of these, you could definitely do that. But honestly, it doesn't bother me, and you really can't even notice much. So I would not worry about that. So I'm going to go ahead and go all the way through here. Now, once again, with this chalk paint, it dries super duper fast. I'm going to go ahead and go all the way in the inside here. Now, with this frame here in particular, this is the first time I've ever seen it where the wood is just a little bit rougher right here. I don't know if you guys could tell that texture or not. I've never had that before, so you may see something like that, and I think it looks good. But I think that it would be really, 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 really pretty if you stained it as well. I definitely think stain would be gorgeous, or like I said, unicorn spit would be really nice. If you don't know what unicorn spit is, it's a really nice stain. Lots of different things you can do with it. So I'm going to go ahead and just keep going around this frame here. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this up really quick. All right, so now that I've got it painted, I'm actually going to set this aside. So it's always good to start with your frames first and then come back, do all your iron-on stuff, because by the time you come back, this should be dry. So I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the way and get ready for our iron-on. All right, so now we are ready for our iron-on HTV project. So we're going to bring in our little easy press. All right, so I'm going to bring this little guy in because we're going to need it. Now, depending on your surface, so say for example, I'm working on a granite countertop, so it's a super hard surface. It can handle the heat. I'm going to apply this directly here without even putting a press under it. Now, if you're working on a regular tabletop, countertops that are not granite, or stone, I definitely would use your pressing pad. Just do half here and then half on the other side, or get yourself a bigger pressing pad. But for me, like I said, I'm going to just press it right here. So when it comes for this part, let's go ahead and weed this first. And I'm just going to go ahead and quickly do this. But what's awesome about this is using the HTV is it's going to last longer. It's easier to stick to the surface, the canvas, than the adhesive vinyl. And, you know, I could do really pretty glitters and holographics and all of those things as well. So lots of different options. And it's just another option if, you know, this is the only color I have is in HTV. I can definitely do this. So I'm going to go ahead and just quickly weed through here. There's only a few pieces, so it should not take me no time at all. So I'm just going to zip through here. Once again, this is Caesar Easy Weed that I'm using today. You could use whatever brand you prefer or love. So I'm just going to go ahead and weed. So this design is amazing because it's super duper easy. It actually comes in 2 pieces, and I welded it right inside of Cricut Design Space, and then just cut it out with my Cricut Maker 3. You could definitely make this project with your Silhouette, whatever die cutting machine that you have. All right, so now that we have this ready here, you guys can see that there. How cute is that? I was trying to see if I had a little piece to weed out here, and I don't think so. Okay, so now we're ready. So the biggest thing of this is just getting it in the center. So before you, if you wanted to do this before or wait for your sign or your frame, if you will, to dry, you could actually place it on top to find out that exact placement. But really, honestly, you just need to center it up inside of here, because remember, we have so much excess to be able to trim. So I'm just watching my guides right here, and I'm just going to kind of center that up like so. So I can also do something like this if I wanted to, just so I can kind of eyeball where I'm at. And then once again, just something like this, okay? So I'm gonna go with this. Looks great. Now we're ready to go. Now I only push this twice. So to turn this little guy on, you guys know you're gonna go 1, 2, 3, depending on how, you know, how much heat. I'm just doing it on 2, and I think that's gonna be good enough. And I'm actually going to protect this outside piece. Well, I don't think I'm gonna get on the outside. If you were gonna get on the outside, protect your canvas with a parchment paper. So I'm not going to, so I'm not gonna worry about it. So what I'm gonna do is, keeping a circular motion, I'm not setting it still. The reason why you don't wanna set it still is if you do, you're gonna get this same imprint on your canvas that's gonna stay forever. So you don't wanna do that. Same thing with your garments. Always make sure you're keeping it in a nice motion. And what I'm doing is, I know that I need to press this for around, 20 seconds or so. And this is not something I'm washing, so I don't really have to worry about that. I just need to make sure it's going to adhere and it's not peeling up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay on one side and slowly work my way all the way to the other side, because I don't want to, as I'm heating this, this carrier sheet is starting to kind of, shrink and kind of bubble, if you will, the way that it does when you heat. And so I don't want to work from one way and risk, buckling any of my HTV. So just kind of stay in the same area, heating each area for around 20 seconds or so, just working your way down. Once again, this is not a t-shirt. This is not something that I'm going to wash. I just need to make sure the adhesive is adhered and that I don't see any edges peeling or anything like that. So it's nice with projects like this because you don't have to have so much stress as, if it goes through the wash or anything. So something like this will be great for outside. It's something great for storage if I had to store it up in the attic for a while, with all of my decor pieces or anything like that. I'm not going to need to seal this with anything. I know that's a question we get all the time as well. I'm not going to need to seal it with anything. It's going to be good to go. So if I was using adhesive vinyl, same thing. I wouldn't really worry about it, sealing it as well. If I was having this outside, I definitely would make sure I was using permanent over removable. So I think we've got everything down. Looks great. I'm going to pick this little guy up, and then I'm going to go ahead and start to slowly peel at an angle. And if anything is not held down, I'll go back, but it looks good. Super easy, and I was able to pull that off with my mini Cricut Easy Press. Now, if you were using your bigger one, say I was using my Cricut 6x7, I would definitely protect the surface with parchment paper, and then I would just press it in the 2 different presses. If I was popping this in a full press, same thing. I'd make sure the whole thing was covered with parchment paper. That way I wouldn't give myself any lines or creases, and I would protect my canvas from burning. And I would do the same thing. If I was using a big heat press, I would do 305 for around 10 seconds, 6 seconds or so. 6 seconds would probably be good. Same thing with the Cricut Easy Presses. Do around 15 seconds, around 3, I would say 315 for 15 seconds. All right, so now we're good to go. I'm just going to wait on my sign to dry. I think it's definitely getting close, so we will be right back. All right, so now that our frame is dry, you guys can see how super cute this is coming together. So what we need to do is get ready to staple it. So we're just going to flatten this out as best as we can. And then I'm going to line this up. So I'm going to start to figure out where I want this to be. And that's why I say, see how much extra room we have. So if you get off a little bit, it's going to be okay. I really think this looks good. I think it looks super duper cute like this. I'm going to roll with it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to very carefully flip it over like so. And then I'm going to go ahead and get my first staple. So I'm going to go ahead and get all the way to the edge here that I can and get my first staple in. I'm going to pull nice and tight. Get my next staple. All right, so before we staple anymore, we want to flip it over and make sure we're still in that correct direction where we need to be. Everything looks good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get one on each side. So I'm going to go ahead and flip it, get one on this side here. All right. And then I'm also going to get one. So I'm pulling, if you guys notice, see how I'm pulling nice and tight? You don't want to lose canvas, so you definitely want to pull nice and tight. I can double check again, make sure I'm good. And then now I'm going to get all 4 corners. So I'm going to make sure I don't get on that staple. So I'll go right underneath that staple, just like so. All right, so we're going to look at it one more time. You guys can see it looks great. Everything's good. So now what we need to do is trim off all of this excess, right? So you're just going to hold it as best as you possibly can. And I want to trim back past a little bit on this wood. And as you guys can see, mine was just a little bit wet here. So make sure yours is completely dry. So don't get in the front at all. So go down about halfway of this wood piece here. But I'm going under because you don't want it to pop out. So go right in the center if you can. So that way you're not undercutting and not overcutting. So something about like that. You can see? Good. All right, so now let's go ahead and I'm going to do this side and then I'll go down my side. So I'm going to go ahead and get this one. And just be super, super careful not to, overcut. Because if you undercut, you can always go back, So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I kind of fold forward, as you guys can see here, and then go down. So just kind of zip down just like so. Lots of different things you can do with these signs. You could do bathroom signs, kitchen signs, tons of things. Because like, for example, a lot of times at your hobby stores, you guys can get, a pack of, 10 8.5 by 11s. So it's a great way to make your very own signs, super duper affordable. Great housewarming gifts. I did this for my brother and sister-in-law as a housewarming gift. I made them several little signs for the restroom and things. And you can't see the back. I mean, if it was something you were going to sell, you may want to cover it, the back side of this with another piece of fabric or something possibly. And if you want to hang it on the wall, there's a few different options. What I actually like to do is just take a Coke tab and hot glue, put a little hot glue here on the back with a Coke tab, and you have a hanger. So another thing is I've used command strips with these, so definitely lots of different ideas there. I think we've trimmed off enough. Now, if you feel like you need to go back and add, so say for example, if I want to add, 1 or 2 more of these, hopefully this is not too loud for you guys. Okay, so if you feel like you need a little bit more stability, definitely do so. So look at this. It's not that gorgeous? So you could definitely just leave it like this, have a nice little sign, looks gorgeous. But what I wanted to do today is take it a step further, and I wanted to add on these little hooks here. So I'm trying to decide because I do have a little bit of a bevel. So these do come with a hole. So my initial plan was to take like a little nail, like a finishing nail or something, and then nailing those in. You could definitely, get little tiny screws, but I think the finishing nails would be great for this as well. And I got 4 of them for our keys, and how gorgeous is this? So I was just thinking, I was at the store, and I was gathering some supplies for you guys to create a reverse canvas, and I was picking up some handles for something else, and I thought, you know what, how cute would it be to turn this reverse canvas into a key hanger? Once again, perfect for pets. You could do one of our SVGs for the pets and then do the little leashes and stuff, would be so cute. Or to even do, like I said, your dog's name or your family's name. Such great ideas. So before I hot glue these, so I'm actually going to hot glue mine. I'm going to try to line them up where I'm wanting them to be. So whenever it comes time to hot glue, we're going to be ready to go. So I think this is good. I'm rolling with it. All right, so I've got my hot glue. You could use E6000, whatever you want to use. I'm just going to go ahead and get some glue right here on the back. And then place it back down, like so. Now, if I was going to sell this, because you want to be careful because your keys can only hold so much, so maybe E6000 or something, I definitely would do a little finishing nail. I think it would be perfect. I'm going to see if I can find some finishing nails in just a second to show y'all. But I still would go ahead and possibly do some adhesive just to secure extra. But you don't have to. But I think if I was going to sell this or if I was going to gift it, I definitely would do a real small finishing nail to hold these inside. You could find these hooks, like I said, at your craft stores. You can find these, you know, at your, say for example, you know, Lowe's, Home Depot, things like that as well. Amazon has great little hooks. I'm going to try to link some down below that I would recommend for these from Amazon. So lots of different places to get these, tons of different designs of hooks out there. And you may even have some in your stash from something. So lots of different ideas here. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. All right, so I didn't have any finishing nails here, but I think this looks gorgeous. But once again, I definitely would do some tiny little finishing nails to really hold the weight of those keys. But I think this came out absolutely gorgeous. You guys let me know down below, will you be recreating this? Would you like it for, you know, like with this SVG or maybe a pet? Let me know down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please hit the like button down below and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.